Thank you. I make my income as a psychotherapist, and I was doing really well with that, and then I got exposed to Abraham, and I'm really thrilled with everything I've learned, except I became real aware of the fact that people didn't need to go through that old historic crap anymore. And I also concluded, I rent my space from a medical doctor, and a lot of people in the same office that prescribe a lot of things and diagnose a lot of things. And I concluded that nobody was really sick. They really didn't need me anyway. And so my practice began to kind of fall apart. Anyway, I don't know that it really began to fall apart.
Well,
certainly.
Well, what's happening is you're becoming a vibrational match to a different clientele.
Okay, and I gained that awareness, and so I began to really focus on, okay, I'm going to attract to me people who want what I have and what I can offer for them. And it feels odd right now. I have a few people who've even verbalized, I pay you just to come and be around you. And that feels a little odd to me.
Why?
But I get this thing going like it's unethical or something. I don't know. But anyway, what I'm also finding is sometimes, like, I judge myself and say, well, if I diagnosed them or made them feel more miserable when they were with me, they'd come back longer, and I would have more income. But, they come 2 or 3 times and we get things done and they're gone. And I kind of joke with my life partner about, yep, got another one, well, they're gone. And I'm very open. Matter of fact, when my practice started...
Well, before
yes.
you go further, we want to say that if everyone knew what you're coming to know, the hospitals would empty out.
Oh, I know.
But the doctors don't need to worry about that,
right,
because everyone doesn't know what you know. Your clientele is shifting, adjusting to in other words, the manifestation, your clientele in this case is the manifestational indicator of how you feel. The story that you're telling, listen to it, the story that you're telling is the people who are looking for value from me have to really be in a place that I don't acknowledge anymore. And since I don't acknowledge it, then there's no more people coming to me. And we say, we would tell a different story if we were standing in your shoes.
Okay.
There are many, a much higher percentage of people that are ready for this knowledge that you hold than where you have been. But that's beside the point. You can't be different than you are. You can't step back into what you knew before you know what you now know.
Yeah.
And that's what's messing up your experience. You've sort of got one foot in both worlds, and that's keeping you from really moving into the new world.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how to do that, and I don't know what to do next.
Well, just tell a little bit different story. In other words,
okay,
we started to guide you just a little bit when you say, it feels unethical for them to just come because I uplift them. Is there any greater gift than upliftment? Helping someone into vibrational alignment adjust their point of attraction, and everything in their life is coming in response to their point of attraction. So is there any more worthwhile work? And then you said, you didn't exactly say it, but let's look between the lines and let's spill it here. Then you acknowledge that there are doctors who do benefit from patients not moving forward. We'll say it even more dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
The medical society is mining the bodies of physical beings for their own well-being.
Yeah.
And if you don't think that's true, then ask yourself how many tonsillectomies you're aware of this year in comparison with when you were children, or how many appendectomies. In other words, your bodies are the same, it's just that the treatments are modern. And then we say that the medical community is not asserting its injustice. The medical community has risen to meet the demands of the mass consciousness. So there's no reason to push against any of it, because medicine exists as it does because of the mindset of the people that medicine is treating. So then you just get to decide. There's no value in deciding the rightness or the wrongness of the place of any of those people, patients or physicians, any of this. You just have to decide what's right for you, and then line up with it and watch the universe yield to you whatever is necessary for your new decision or desire. It's a wonderful thing. The most significant thing that we have said to you here today is that you can't have it both ways. You can't be a teacher of vibration and a responder to action. You can't have it both ways. So many of your clients want you to respond to what is, and you can't focus upon what is and guide them to where they want to be at the same time. And yet most people who are suffering, it's a very common thing. Let me tell you where I'm at. Let me tell you where I'm at. And that's why psychotherapy has grown as it has, because the clients, the patients, almost demand to tell you their story, because their story feels important to them, because look what's manifesting. And you seem uncaring if you don't want to listen to that. But as you listen, then you become part of the problem. And that's why people go to therapists year after year after year after year, and things don't change in their experience because they don't tell a different story. You are the inducer of a new story. That's your value. You are the inducer of a new story. You just have to say straight out to them. If you keep telling it like it is, you'll keep just getting what is. Different places, different faces, but your life will not change until you tell a different story. And I'm the perfect one to tell it to, because I'm not interested in the old story. Cut them off quick. Don't let them go into the old story, because if you lend a sympathetic ear, now you're hooked vibrationally. You see. So when your friend comes to you and wants to complain, whether it's a friend or whether it's a client, step back into your knowing and say, you know, I've been asking myself lately, am I an appreciator or a complainer? And then say, which do you think you are? And it was powerful. And right in the middle of their complaint, they'll say, well, I usually don't complain. And then say, oh, that's what I thought you would say, because you strike me as an appreciator. Now you've set a new course already. Now their complaint is awkward at best.
But Abraham, I still need to buy groceries.
Getting back to my complaint, they say. You see what we're getting at?
Yes, but I'm afraid that if I do that, there's that word, afraid, anyway, that they won't want to come to me, and then...
Well, this is that one foot in each world that we're talking about. So, you see, what's tearing you apart, what's causing you discord, is not the losing of clients, it's the not being who you are. In other words, you can't continue to practice that way. You know too much. That's leading them in the wrong direction. That's turning upstream rather than downstream. So now let's talk about what the worst thing could happen. Let's play this out with a client. So you've listened briefly, and right away you realize they're beating the drum of what they don't want. And the good news is, you know that in that life that they've been living, they've put some good stuff in vibrational escrow, which you would like to turn and address, but they don't want to. So you say to them, you know, I've been asking about myself lately, and of a lot of other people. It's a sort of a new way I'm approaching things, and I'm getting very positive results with this. I ask myself, don't ask them, I ask myself, are you an appreciator or a complainer? Are you a lover or a hater? Are you optimistic or pessimistic? I've been asking myself, are you an uplifter or a downlifter? I'm asking myself, say to them many times, I'm asking myself. And then right in the middle of what you were just saying, it occurred to me, which do you think you are? Do you think you're an appreciator or a complainer? And they'll give you that look, because you interrupted their complaint, and they were rolling pretty good. They've been practicing in their mind. And what's with you? You can't change roles on me now. You've been letting me complain for a long time, and now suddenly you're frisky and not going to let me complain. But you just sort of came to this awareness, and so you put it to them, and you don't let them get away with dominating the moment. And here's what we want you to hear. If you are the leader, if you are the mentor, if you are the healer, if you are the teacher, then don't you want to guide them to a better feeling place? And so when you ask them, are you an appreciator or are you a complainer? And they complain that you don't let them go on complaining, you realize you've got your work cut out for you. But you say to them, you know, I know that you are an appreciator, and that's why this complaint feels so bad to you. And then tell them, I figured that out in my own life. You are a lover who in this moment isn't loving, and therein lies the totality of your problem. Now they're going to protest. And then you'll say, I know. You can argue for your limitation. And I know you're right. And I know you're justified. I'm just saying to you, I've never seen anyone ever, and I've seen so many people, I've never one time seen anybody get an improved condition going about it this way. Not once ever.
Yeah.
And I used to lend an ear because I wanted to establish a rapport. And then I discovered it's a dangerous rapport. And I've decided I'm not going there anymore. I trust that you're paying me good money because you want to improve your life. And I know how to improve your life, and no longer will I encourage the complaint. I'll hear it briefly because it's valid. And I'll hear it long enough to help you and I recognize what you really want. But then, friend, I got to, in good conscience, turn my undivided attention, Jesus said, turn the other cheek, toward what is wanted. So what is it that you want? What is it that you'd like to praise rather than condemn? What is it that you want to appreciate rather than complain about? Is there anything? Now, there might not be in that moment, and they might be just irritated with you. And here's the thing that we want you to understand. If they don't get that, and if they don't hear that, then they are not the client for you. And you'll just torture each other anyway. And as long as you're holding people like that to you, which is messing up your vibration, then the people that you really want can't come.
Okay. Well, and the line that you just gave me was, you're paying me good money because I have an answer. Do you want it? Yeah. Thank you.
I'm here to lead you into the light, not back into the darkness.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you.
The day you were born, that energy split. Is just the nature of being physically focused, because now you are giving your attention to things of physical nature. Even before you can speak the words, even before you have language, you are giving your attention to some degree. Your mother worried about you 9 months, and now you're here, she's really worried about you. There's a different vibration going along around you. So now your vibration split a bit. When you sleep, and you do as an infant a lot, your vibration becomes one again. When you wake up, you worry a little bit. The longer you live in this physical body, doesn't need to be, but seems to be often the case, the more you find things to fuss and worry about. And the more you chronically begin to hold yourself in a vibration that's different from that knowing, loving, worthy feeling, well-being vibration that is really who you are. So as you begin to get acclimated to a feeling that is far different from who you really are, occasionally you have moments of insight where you are thrilled about something. But how do you feel most of the day? Are you ornery or are you joyful? Are you buoyant or are you dragged down? Are you eager or are you depressed? In other words, you've got to pay attention to the way you feel, and in paying attention to the way you feel, you can feel eagerness is alignment, depression is not, anger is not, frustration is not, love is alignment. You see what we're getting at? So as you begin to get a handle on the way you feel, what you're really getting a handle on is the wholeness or the lack of it of who you are. We want to help you figure out how to keep up with you. We want you to keep up with who life has caused you to become. And do you know, every time you feel negative emotion, even if somebody else has done something that you deem terrible to you, every time you feel negative emotion, you're not keeping up with you. And if you can get that, I'm not letting myself be who I really am. That's what negative emotion means. So when you get that and you are determined to let yourself be who you really are, be the lover you are, the offerer of love to others, but the lover of self that you are, the appreciator of others, but the appreciator of self that you are, the worthy being that you are, you've been compared with so many others. Most of you have lost your place in this. You don't love yourself the way the larger part of you does, and you suffer horribly in that absence of self-love. And we've noticed that when you're not loving you, you have a hard time loving anybody, and when you're not loving anybody, you have a hard time loving you. Just find something to love and focus upon it. No matter what it is, find something to love, give it your undivided attention until you've activated the vibration, until you can feel it within you. Good. We are eager to talk with you about anything that is important to you. Nothing is off limits. You'll notice a perfect unfolding.